Hello, my name is Suzanne Ridley. I'm a cognitive behavioural hypnotherapist. I offer in-person sessions in Reigate in Surrey and online sessions from the comfort of your own home. So, cognitive behavioural hypnotherapy combines cognitive behavioural therapy, or CBT, with evidence-based hypnotherapy. So we use CBT tools and techniques combined with hypnosis to achieve your therapeutic goals. In this video, I wanted to answer some of the most common questions about hypnosis in particular, because although CBT is now a very well-known and widely used model of therapy, there is still a lot of myths and misconceptions about hypnosis floating around out there. And we do fortunately now have a very well-established body of evidence explaining more about how and why hypnosis works, because we've known for a long time that it works, but not really how or why. So understanding some of this helps to remove a bit of the mystery about the technique, and also highlights the potential that using something like hypnosis has for improving many areas of many people's lives. So let's dive in. The first question is hypnotherapy in any way related to stage hypnosis? So stage hypnosis has quite a lot to answer for in terms of some of the misunderstandings that people have about the technique. It very often looks as if the hypnotist is, controlling the subject, and the subject is quite often, kind of humiliating themselves for the sake of entertainment. So that's not necessarily great. The way we use hypnosis and hypnotherapy, the subject is always in control and can only respond to suggestions that they want to accept and respond to. So, stage hypnosis is not great advertising for that. But I personally feel that stage hypnosis is helpful in a way, because the hypnotist is using a lot of the same methods to put people into what we call a highly suggestible state, so that their minds accept the ideas that they're given. And when you look at how kind of powerful and effective the technique is, it really just comes down to what you're using it for. So in my mind, if a stage hypnotist can make someone completely, truly 100% believe that they are stuck to a chair, or, behave like a chicken or a dog, or genuinely can't remember their own name, then by the same methods, you can help someone truly, completely believe and act as if they are confident or calm under pressure, or value themselves or feel good about themselves. So I think, used as a demonstration of the astonishing power of our brains when we use them in a certain way, then I think maybe stage hypnosis is not such a bad thing. But probably better to use it to improve your life than to shock and entertain people. Second question, is hypnosis the same as meditation? So meditation and hypnosis share a lot of similarities, but they're not the same thing. Often when you're in meditation, your neurophysiology is operating in a very similar way. So your brainwaves are downregulated and you've activated your parasympathetic nervous system, so your safety relaxation response. So you're generally more calm and focused in both, meditation and hypnosis. But the key difference is that once you're in this state in hypnosis, you use your mind. So you use your focus, you use imaginal absorption, and you use your mind to reprogram the way that you think and feel and behave when you come out of hypnosis. So I've heard it put that hypnosis is like meditation with a goal, and I think that's a pretty good summary because we're headed into a similar state, but once you're there in hypnosis, we're actively doing something. One thing that I find with people who struggle with meditation is that they tend to take to hypnosis a bit more easily, because in each moment through hypnosis, you're quite closely guided. So your mind and attention are being guided through instructions and through ideas, and it means it can feel much easier for people than aiming to quiet the mind or focus for a long time on something like the breath or a mantra. So I think for that reason it can be quite a useful gateway into meditation, because it's like meditation but with someone kind of holding your hand and helping you to relax and focus as you go through it. Next question is, how does hypnosis work? So this is how I would explain hypnosis based on the basic science of how our brains record and reuse information. So every time you're exposed to any kind of meaningful information, or you have an experience that your brain registers as meaningful, your brain logs this as a memory. So it creates a little file about that information or event and stores it away as what we'd call an implicit memory. And this is done by neurons in the brain firing and wiring into connections, and those building into networks or schemas. So every time something happens now, your brain searches through this stored information to know how to best respond to that thing. So it checks the thing that you're facing in this moment against your implicit memories. So all of those files of information and experiences, and says, okay, based on all of the information I'm storing and all of the experiences I've had, this is how we should best respond to this situation. And this all happens unconsciously and in milliseconds, so we're not aware of that process. But this is how our habits and patterns of thinking and feeling and behaving are built, because these neurological networks have been building since you were born, and your brain now relies on these daily to be able to respond to life appropriately and quickly. So automatically and quickly, automatic responses that you don't have to sit and think about. Now, issues arise, and this happens to all of us in one way or another. I don't think anyone is exempt from this. Issues arise when the information and events that you've been exposed to have created files in your brain that are inaccurate and unhelpful. But even though we might be able to look at that information and those events and look at the habits and responses that they've built in us and say, yes, this is illogical, or thinking or behaving in this way is not helpful to me, we continue to do it, because our brains use these files automatically. So logic very often has very little to do with it, unfortunately. If it's an unconscious, implicit memory that your brain is functioning in response to, it's so deeply embedded in your neural architecture that it can be very difficult to change through conscious reflection and thinking alone. So if you wish to interrupt those patterns and these automatic, unconscious ways of thinking and responding, your brain needs to learn and retain and store new information. So it needs new implicit memories. But rather than this information and these records being a result of whatever you've haphazardly been exposed to since childhood, this time it's information and it's thoughts, it's habits and behaviors that you choose to live by. And so that's what hypnosis is. One of the more evidence-based definitions of hypnosis is increased focus on a dominant idea whilst you're in a highly suggestible state. So it's being exposed to new information and new ideas whilst you're in a certain physiological and psychological state. And while you're in the state, we use focus and imaginal absorption and repetition to build these new memories and embed that new information into your brain. So your brain will continue to act on its implicit memories automatically, but these are memories and beliefs and patterns of thinking and responding that will best serve you. And the last question is, what does it feel like to be in hypnosis? So it varies a bit for everyone. Some people just feel a bit more relaxed and focused than usual, and some people go into a deeper state of that relaxation and absorption and focus. The general feedback that I get is that it feels pretty good while you're doing it, which is one of the nice things about this form of therapy, is that it feels quite nice whilst you're in the process. But overall, we focus on the outcome over the state. So we measure the process by the results that you get once you're out of hypnosis, rather than the feeling of being in hypnosis. But that being said, it can feel really nice, which is lovely. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop me an email. To book a free phone consultation or your initial session, just hop over to the contact page, and I look forward to working with you soon.